We are live. We are live. Welcome to College Football's Peek Around the Corner with your host, Greg Flugar. We cover everything in college football because we love everything in college football. And if you do as well, please subscribe to our ever-growing channel. Smash the like button if you like our content. Share the video with your family and friends. If you want to donate to the show, hit the $, put a comment, and we'll get you a comment as soon as possible. Welcome into the corner. Welcome into the studio that sits on the corner of Keith Jackson Parkway and Kurt Gowdy Avenue. Do not be afraid, PATC community. Do not be afraid to be a PATC legend with your comments in the chat and with your phone calls later in the show. It's Big 12. They released the scheduling model. I was going to do a live show a little bit earlier this afternoon, but I've been busy. We've been busy. We've already done 3 episodes today. We're doing a live show. I'm thinking we're not going to do a live show tonight unless there's some huge breaking news on the Michigan front. We might get huge breaking news as we're doing this live show. It seems like every time we do a mid-afternoon live show, something breaks wide open. So keep your head on a swivel. We've already talked about today in the episodes. If you've missed them, go watch them. Episode, I don't remember the number. I think it was 321. Florida State, Mike Alford, the athletic director, basically tells Nicole Auerbach of the Athletic, football independence for Florida State is not an option. They took time. They looked at it. Mike Alford said, I would be lying to you if I just said I took 10 minutes on it. They explored it. One of their options going forward to increase revenue so they can compete at the highest levels of college football. I mean, they're doing that now, but things are going to change with revenue sharing, increase compensation to the student athletes. Florida State, like many other top brands in the land, believe they need to increase their revenue to compete with the Big Ten, the SEC schools. That's why Texas and Oklahoma left to the SEC. That's why USC left to the Big Ten. And that's why Florida State, that's why Clemson are kicking around the idea, looking at their options. Remember, Clemson, they hired a consultant 6 months ago to look at their options. Florida State, they have done a lot of work. These institutions have done a lot of work. And they have spent money on the work. It's not just smoke. There's fire behind the smoke. The question is, when do they announce the next step, the next phase in either asking for a settlement with the ACC, taking the ACC to court? When does the next step happen? We believe it's first quarter 2024. We believe that since December 26, 2022. But we'll see. We shall see. But the story today was Nick Auerbach. Mike Alford told The Athletic, yeah, independence, that's not an option. That's not an option. We cover that story. Catch that whole episode later after this live show. So the next thing we talked about was, again, The Athletic. Feldman and Max Olson. The Athletic did a survey. A survey across the college football landscape that went through all participants of the survey, covered all 10 FBS conferences. They asked the coaches numerous questions about this alleged Michigan scandal on in-person scouting. The answers they got back was about as united, about as uniformed, about as consensus speaking as you could possibly get on any question in college football. 94%, 47 out of 50 says this is severe allegations with Michigan. The punishment should be severe. Again, go read the whole article from The Athletic. Go watch our episode earlier today. And one of the important points, the reason why we did an episode on it, we talked about it last night on our live show. I don't know what the punishment's going to be. I don't know the timing of the punishment. The only thing I can say is, after poking and a prodding with the BTM and his associates, BTM is short for Big Ten man, not ma'am, Big Ten man, and his group been very vital in our ability to break news, to give you a peek around the corner for the last decade, in the last year and some here on this YouTube channel. The one thing we do know is, and we talked about it last night on our live show, people are hot. People are hot in the Big Ten. And we talked about it. We said if the punishment is not perceived to be swift enough or hard enough, it's going to break open the holy gates of hell when it comes to schools paying attention to any rules. We talked about it last night. And sure enough, if you read the Athletic article, that's the message. That's the exact message that we put out last night. After my BTM and his associates gave information to me, people are hot. You might think that Michigan's getting smeared. You might think this is a grand conspiracy. You might think everybody's doing it. You might think everybody's doing it, but it doesn't matter because it doesn't impact the game. Whatever your take on it is, from a pro-Michigan stance, the important part of that story from the Athletic and what we tried to communicate last night was, you can do this pushback. Steve Dace and everybody, every Michigan beat writer and blogger and Twitter person or whatever, they can do all the pushback they want. But you should, if you really want to push back on this, you should be talking to the coaches, athletic directors of the institutions of the Big Ten and across the country, because they are united. They are united in how severe this is, how stupid it was for Michigan to do this, how they don't believe Jim Harbaugh was not involved, that he did not know. Go read the Athletic article. And why is this important? You might be saying, who cares? Who cares? Michigan's going to continue to do what they do, and they're going to win the Big Ten, and no one's going to remember this 3 or 4 years from now. The reason why it's a big deal, the reason why those numbers coming in so strong for realizing their perception that Michigan in-person scouting, if all the reports are true in this alleged in-person scheme, the reason why it's so important of the big numbers coming in is because it gives Tony Petitti political cover. It gives him absolutely political cover. When you are a Big Ten commissioner, some of that job is political, obviously. And Michigan is a very important institution into the Big Ten. Michigan is Big Ten. Big Ten is Michigan. But Tony Petitti has 13 other universities, 13 other presidents, 13 other athletic directors, 13 other set of coaches, 13 other set of student athletes, 13 other sets of fan bases, 13 other sets of local sponsorships, on and on and on, that he has to deal with. This is a big, big, big story. And people are going, Greg, why do you keep covering it? Because this is huge. And it's going to have a ripple effect. If there's nothing going on with Michigan, if nothing happens, if this gets pushed out to next February, March, April, May, that is a huge story. And that will cause ripple effects across the Big Ten and the country. If nothing happens, it's a big story. If nothing happens to Michigan, it's a big story. And of course, every day we learn more and more and more. And that brings us to the third episode that we dropped today. If you haven't watched it, you may not want to watch it. But if you want to watch it, I think it's episode 323, PATC. I do our own rendition of I Wear My Sunglasses at Night by Corey Hart, set to the images that have been posted all over the place about a person who looks like Conor Stallions standing on the sidelines of Central Michigan in their game against Michigan State. I sang the song. It was a cappella. That song is so very difficult to sing without any music. I'm giving you my excuses, but that is not a song that you sing without the bum, 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 bum. But I did it. I had to do it. And so We gave it a try and we released it. Go check that out. Big 12. Big 12 drops their 2024 to 2027 football model. They didn't put out the dates of the games, but they put out the models. The first thing we were looking for is the permanent rivals. The permanent rival list. There it is. The only Big 12 rivalries that will be played each season between 2024 and 2027. Arizona, Arizona State, BYU, Utah, Baylor, TCU, Kansas, Kansas State. Interesting. Very interesting. What happened to Farmageddon? What happened to Kansas State, Iowa State? I thought for sure they would link up the West Virginia, Cincinnati. But that did not happen. Now, this is only for 2024, 2025, 2026, 2027. So it could change. In 2028, there could be added a couple more rivals. Who knows? There could be added more schools in 2028. Right? The Big 12 could be adding a Pittsburgh. Could be adding a Louisville. So, we'll see. We'll see. Right now, there's only 4. I thought there'd be at least a couple more. That's one of the big news items that we were looking at the Big 12, the Big 12 schedule. First of all, before we go on, let me thank everybody for coming on in today. I appreciate it. Cameron B., everyone in the Big 12 hates the new schedules. Wow. Why do you hate the Big 12 schedules? Let me know in the comments section. I'm going to be opening up the phone lines within minutes here. I want to hear from you, Cameron B., and others. Why does everybody hate the Big 12 schedule? You're going to play each other quite often. 9 conference games. It looks pretty balanced to me. Or am I reading it all wrong? Let me know. Let me know. Thank you, Cameron B., for your generosity once again to the channel. Thank you for your super chat. I appreciate it. Let me thank the people for coming on in early in this show today. My prof, I made a live chat. Thank you for coming on in, my prof. Richard L., Mr. Colorado Buffalo. I wonder how he's liking the new Big 12 football schedules. Colorado coming back home to the Big 12. I wonder what he's thinking. John Menser, Big 12, let's go. Kaufman, hi y'all. Obsidian 75, save Farmageddon. What happened? What happened to that rival? Isn't that like a 100-year rival? That is something. Somebody's going to give me a call. Was that expected not to be continue for 2024 to 2027? Why wasn't it continued? Someone has to explain it to me. My prof, I'm dancing to the groove. Randy Taylor, swivel time. Juan Carlos, whoa Nelly, Trent Brown is in the house. Go Cougs, BY Cougs, that is. So BYU got a permanent rival with Utah. Houston Cougars did not get a permanent rival with any of the other Texas schools. Texas Tech doesn't even have a permanent rival. Jay Turtle. Hey, Greg. How you doing, Jay Turtle? Appreciate you coming on in. Curtis Brown says the protected rivals list is shocking. It surprised me. Skull Ducky. West Virginia not having a rival makes me think they're waiting on Pitt. I do think they're waiting on Pitt. I'm not sure if that would have stopped them from West Virginia having a rival with Cincinnati. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right, Skull Ducky. But I think the old pick to the Big 12 scenario has a lot of steam to it. A lot of steam to it. It's going to take a while, but I think there's something to that. Skull Ducky, thanks for coming on in. Appreciate it. G Ford, Big 12, JJ. What the heck? What the heck is going on around here? That's what I got to say. David M., come on, Greg. You want the brown jug back if Michigan cheated? No, I don't. In that game, even if Michigan vacated, Minnesota's not going to get the win. That's not how you... Teams don't get wins just because the other team vacated. So, no, we're not going to get the brown jug back on a 52-10 splatter. A 52-10 slaughter. Cornelius Green, praise the Lord, Greg. Praise the Lord. Thank you so very much. Just trying to get through a long list here. I want to thank people when they come in so early. The Sir Killer, I think there's only one permanent rival. KSU, KU protected, not Iowa State and Kansas State. Couldn't they have done two permanent rivals for Kansas State? I guess not. The Architect is in the house. Thank you, Architect. At the end of the day, Michigan makes the Big Ten and the members lots of money. Follow the money. Joe Goldblue. So only this scandal deserves attention now. It is a big story. We follow where the story... We go where the story goes. And this story is big. Are there other scandals out there? Yes. Do we cover them? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Laura Weiss is in the house. Hey, y'all. Not a big fan of the new Big 12 schedules. The Red Raider. Laura Weiss has spoken. What is going on? You guys got to give me a call. You guys have to explain it to me. This Farmageddon being the longest continuous streak in college football is silly. Kansas State has played Kansas continuously since 1911, which is 6 years longer than Farmageddon. Greg is a very busy gopher today. Busy day. Busy day, and it might get even busier as the day goes on. Oklahoma State, I think that's Oklahoma State X. Yes, Oklahoma State X. Big 12's 2024 football schedule. Only talking about Michigan. We came here about the Big 12. I hear you loud and clear, Oklahoma State. This is a Big 12 show. Well, this is a national show. We're going to cover whatever pops in here during the afternoon. But yes, this is about the Big 12 formula, how they set it up for 2024, 2027. But I got to talk about other things in the monologue before we get to the big story. Everybody relax. Everybody relax. Mick Stevens, I'm sorry, Mick. Go, TCU Horned Frogs. He's back in the house. Thanks for coming on in. Hidden music. You can't play every team once in 4 year span if a team has multiple in-conference rivals. True. The more permanent rivals you have, the harder it is for that school to go through the rotation. You are correct, Hidden H Music. Absolutely. Thanks for updating us on the schedules, Greg. Well, we're going to go through it real quick here. I sure would like to... I'm going to open up the phone lines right now. Hopefully somebody gives us a call. Because there's a lot of dissatisfaction and I want to hear some of it. Or if you're satisfied, if you think this is great, I want to hear that too. 763-260-1333. Give us a call. Give us a call. I am going to kind of go through here real quick. Good.
Call from
Cameron B.
I'm sorry, I did not hear the name.
Oh, this is Cameron B.
Okay, the floor is yours. What's going on, sir? How do you like the Big 12 schedule?
It's a little hot and cold. Packers get to play KSU every year. but there's a lot of other games that we should be playing.
Okay.
Not regional enough.
Not regional enough.
Like, there's no reason that KU shouldn't be playing K-State, Iowa State, and Oklahoma State every year.
Oh,
Period.
got it. So you
There's
wanted
no reason
more of a
that
regional
Utah shouldn't
pod
be playing
schedule.
Arizona State, and Utah every year.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought there might be a chance that was going to happen. I'm going to try to put up on the screen here. This is really hard to read. I'm going to put up something different on the screen. That's impossible to read, but that's the Big 12 football matrix. I'm going to put something else up there. But for the caller, I thought there was a possibility that they were just going to go to scheduling pods, not divisional pods, not where there's 4 pods, 4 divisions, 4 teams. I thought there was a chance they may go to the scheduling pods of you play the 4 teams in your region, and those are your 3 permanent rivals each and every year, and then you rotate through the other 12 schools as it goes. Did you think that was a possibility?
I thought that was a possibility, and honestly, it makes the most sense. You want to play the people in your region because those are the people you care about playing the most.
Yeah.
Like, getting the whole national brand and playing people all over the country is nice and all, but playing regionally is what people really care about. Like, I don't have any Arizona people I run into at work, or any Cincinnati people, or UCF people, or West Virginia people at work. But I will run into Iowa State, K-State, and Oklahoma State people all the time.
Yeah.
Because they're regional.
Yeah.
It's all about bragging rights. It's about the rivalry and talking crap. That's what college sports is about. It used to be about, playing your regional rivals. Now it's playing people you have no history with and don't care about playing.
I'm feeling you, man. I'm on your side. I know, look, these athletic directors, these commissioners in the Big Ten, for example, they want these schools to go through the rotation of playing every school in your conference as much as possible in the least amount of years. They think that helps with the strength of the conference. They feel that, first of all, it gives competitive balance to the conference. They also feel that it makes the conference feel like a conference instead of just a scheduling agreement. But I agree with you, man. Like Minnesota, for example, my beloved Gophers. We have 2 permanent rivals, Wisconsin and Iowa. If you say to me, Big Ten put out a schedule and we lost one of those 2 permanent rivals, if we just had one of them, I would have said, are you crazy? Are you crazy?
Exactly.
And I think
Imagine
probably that's how you're
Roosevelt.
feeling, right?
Yeah, exactly. Just imagine what Paul Bunyan's X. Imagine there's no X.
Yeah.
Or if there's no, Floyd Rosedale?
Yes.
Yeah, just imagine those games are just gone.
Yes.
It's just aggravating, particularly as a KU fan. We've lost over the course of, the last decade or so,
Oh, yeah.
4 game series that were over 100 games played.
Wow. Missouri being one of them.
Yeah, Mizzou. We played Mizzou. I think that was the second longest continuous rivalry until they left. Then Kansas, Nebraska. We got throttled every year, but that was one of the longest running game series ever.
Wow. Man, you know what? Shame on me. I did not. I read a few tweets. I had a few tweets sent to me. People were not happy, but I did not pick up on this. That people wanted more regional pod permanent rival games. I completely understand it, but I did not pick up on this. Thanks, caller, for letting me know how you feel. Because I in the chat, and my phone is buzzing right now. I had one person just sent me a note saying the caller absolutely nailed it. So, yeah. Wow. So you would have liked, of course, Kansas State, Iowa State, and Oklahoma State, correct?
Correct. Because it makes sense for, because it's regional, you can drive to all those places.
Yeah.
It makes road trips a lot easier because it's like playing UCF, that's going to be a task. Playing at West Virginia, it's a task. Like, I understand, one super far conference opponent a year, maybe 2, but it's just a lot. It's tough to swallow. Hot take, and this is completely a little off base, but I think these whole massive national conferences are going to go away within 20 years because you're going to have a whole lot of people who are like, why are we doing this? We're traveling cross country. I don't know anybody who plays for this team, or I don't know anyone who like roots for this team. We have no history together. Then you're going to have a lot of teams taking losses that didn't used to take losses because these conferences are getting very bloated. It's going to shatter. Go back to regional rivalries, regional conferences, 10, 12 teams. Just give it about 20 years.
You know what? I'm not going to rule that out. Now, we're college football's peak around the corner. I do not have a crystal ball for 20 years out. But I will tell you, if the economics change, if consolidation even gets more extreme, or if there's some economic factor to where the conferences fracture, or if there's not enough commonality among these large conferences so they fracture, whatever the reason is, it could happen. There's no question about it. We do know one thing. Realignment never sleeps. So you could be onto something here 20 years from now. Or 10 years from now. Who knows? Who knows?
Who knows? But thanks for letting me call in, Greg. Appreciate it. Enjoy your show. You have a good one.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for the call. Thank you very much. Call again. Great call. Great call. Just to give you, I'm just going down here, TCU in 2024. They're on the road to Utah, to Baylor, Texas School, to Kansas, Cincinnati. They're at home, Arizona, Red Raiders, Houston, Oklahoma State, UCF.
Call from
Kansas State fan.
Kansas State fan. The floor is yours. Do you agree with the first caller? What are your thoughts, sir?
I didn't I didn't hear the first part of what he had to say, but in terms of retaining rivalries, I completely agree with what he had to say. Look, just overall, I mean, one of the bigger reasons why college sports is fantastic and there's just so much money coming out of it is just really all the generating of money when it comes to rivalries. I mean, we always see every year with Ohio State, Michigan, Alabama, and Auburn, and how much not only does it help with the TV numbers, but it just also just gets the entire interest of area rivals just completely energized and completely ready for those matchups. So, in regards to what he had to say, it would have been great retaining the likes of Colorado, Iowa State, Oklahoma State every year. I mean, we'll have Kansas as a protected rivalry, which is great. I mean, it was one of the least bigger surprises. But even 2024 to 2026 isn't all that bad because we get to still play our regional rivalries. But the losing Iowa State in 2027, that's going to be. I mean, that's what set off K-State Twitter earlier today.
Yeah.
And Iowa State Twitter today because it's been it's the longest non-interrupted series in college football. They played 117 times in a row, and now it's going to come to an end, bargaining any little shifts where the non-conference schedules may change, but a little bit disappointing. And I'm not, like I said, the first 3 seasons I'm completely satisfied with in terms of the schedule, but the 2027 year, we don't get Iowa State, we don't get Colorado, nor do we get Oklahoma State.
Wow.
It's really disappointing. And as a person who works for a student radio station in Manhattan, we get to travel to call several of the games, and we did earlier this year with Oklahoma State. We're gonna plan on doing it with Kansas as well. But with the 2027 year, I mean, anything could change. But if we're still kind of on the same course, like the same pattern, the only road game we travel to is Kansas in 2027. We want to go to Ames. We want to go to Stillwater. We want to go to Boulder, and then overall, it's just a little bit disappointing.
Let me ask you a question. What
Yeah.
what are the chances, do you think? Is there any early steam? Now this is news that the schedules just came out, that Iowa State and Kansas State could both drop off a out of game conference and then just add, them playing each other. Not a conference.
Well, the crazy thing is that we have a non-conference series scheduled with Colorado in 2027, 2028. So maybe, if there's an outside shot, we can drop that off and then add the Iowa State game. But we also aren't playing Colorado either, so I'm not sure how much BC is or anybody who's kind of affiliated with K-State is sticking into the factor about how big these rivalries are with Colorado and Iowa State. But in 2027, we have Georgia Southern and Colorado as our non-conference matchup. So, we still have one more slot in the schedule, but I'm guaranteeing you that we probably would lean towards an FCS school, kind of similar to what everybody else does. And so it'll be interesting. We'll be something to monitor. Iowa State, I should say. Iowa State has Bowling Green, South Dakota State, and Iowa. If both teams are committed to retaining the rivalry, I could see K-State possibly either removing the Colorado series or just adding the Iowa State schedule, just completely beefing up the 2027 schedule.
Yeah.
And then Iowa State could possibly just drop one of the games against Bowling Green or South Dakota State, just retaining the farm to get a rivalry, because the two schools, the fans desperately want this more than anybody.
Yeah.
Really, but nobody really taken into account back in the old Big 12 days that it was one of the longest played games, whether it's through wars or through COVID. But it's held its ground, and with Nebraska, Missouri, and Colorado gone the first time, one of the Big Eight rivalries that was still remaining intact was K-State and Iowa State, and really the rivalries really started getting hotter and hotter around 2009, and both schools very similar, land-grant schools, about the same population size as towns as well, college towns. It's just one of the many aspects that makes rivalries great. It's kind of similar to Washington State and Oregon State. That would be a little brotherhood that we're kind of going through as well. It just kind of feels similar to K-State and Iowa State, because there were any more Big 12 defectants once OU and Texas left. K-State and Iowa State were two of the programs that could have been caught in the wind with nowhere to go.
Yeah. No, I get it, man. And you're doing a great job explaining the relationship, the chemistry between the two schools, the importance. I got a feeling that they are going to get something done for 2027. Your passion in this, I'm sure, is followed up by many, 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 many Cyclones and Wildcats, and that's the story we're going to have to all keep an eye on. But 2027 out of conference. I bet your Mark has gotten a few phone calls. This is probably his first misstep. Would you call it a misstep on his part and his staff?
I'd say second. The first misstep was when he put the media and the radio broadcasters all the way to the very top during the Big 12 basketball tournament. That's the one thing he missed as a radio broadcaster.
I got it.
Yeah. And then, but overall, besides the 2027 year, the schedule lines up great. Just with kind of a balance and where we're going. We're going to BYU next year. We're going to West Virginia. Several difficult games, but the toughest matchups are at home with Oklahoma State and Kansas. And we don't have to play Utah either until the year after that. So. in terms of how the schedule's lining for next season, it's looking great. I think we have a shot at really running the table, possibly maybe K-State, KU, and Utah, for that matter. Maybe Arizona will pop up here and there, but those are probably the 4 teams that you could throw in Oklahoma State there as well. It's probably the contenders for next season. It's going to be very interesting
That
to see
is.
what happens.
Yes, it is. Yes. Thanks. I appreciate the call, man.
Of course.
Call
Have a
again.
good show, and God bless you.
God bless you. Beautiful. Thank you, sir. A lot of calls coming in. I love it.
Curtis Brown.
Curtis Brown, the floor is yours, but can you hold on just 1 second?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
I appreciate it. Jason W. Super Chat, losing the oldest continuous rivalry, Kansas State and Iowa State. Jason W. speaking out. Thank you for your Super Chat. Thank you for your generosity. I very much appreciate it. I knew people would be interested in this. I knew people would be talking about this, but shame on me. I did not know the extent, but I'm being taught a lesson here. There's a lot more heat to this than I thought. Our web, thank you for your Super Chat. Greg, you can have 4 regional pods of 4 teams, playing every one in your pod and 2 in each in the other 3 pods, and play twice in every 4 years. Yes, we talked about it. People maybe thought this was going to happen. 4 regional pods scheduling. But it did not happen. Thank you, R. Webb, for your Super Chat, for your generosity, your continued generosity to this channel. I very much appreciate it. Your comment, R. Webb, I think a lot of people would agree with you. Curtis Brown, I apologize. The floor is yours.
No need to apologize, Greg. Before I start, first time, long time, listening to you. And I'm going to try to make it quick. I think we, as fans, not necessarily fans, but we need to remember that college football is a regional sport. And so with all these changes nationally, where these conferences are going coast to coast, this is quite an adjustment for us in general.
Yes.
Some of it is great. Like, for example, I went to the Texas Tech game at BYU. Had a great time. Everyone there was great. But, we don't get to play Oklahoma State. At least this year we don't. And I don't have the schedule in front of me, but we're not going to be playing the teams closer by. We're going to have to be traveling further. So I just wish that we kept at least some of the long-standing rivalries. Some of them, sorry, let me regroup. I wish we would get Farmageddon every year.
Yeah.
I wish we would get Kansas State every year. I'm married into a Jayhawk family, so they look forward to that game. And I guess with the changes, we're losing some of that.
Yeah.
But it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. That's all I have to say. I'll let other people call. Thanks for putting on the show and giving us a platform to speak.
Got it.
Have a great day.
I appreciate it, Curtis Brown. Call again, okay? Call again.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Appreciate it. And I wonder if the basketball scheduling for next year, they're going to make it more regional, where you play home and away, the schools that are closest to you for sure.
Call from
John Menser.
John Menser, the floor is yours. What do you got to say, good sir? Thanks for calling.
Hey, Greg. I see where a lot of people are coming from in regards to losing the rivalries. But, we got to remember we are no longer a regional conference. And that's to our benefit. We're now a national conference. And that's going to continue the more we grow. So we have to adapt and overcome. It's unfortunate that Kansas State and Iowa State is no longer a year-to-year rivalry, but there's no way we can create new rivalries unless we actually play other teams, and it's not right or fair for everybody to just play on a regional basis and not have to do the subsequent travel like everybody else does. And I'm talking specifically like the West Virginia, the UCF, and stuff like that. So, and this is coming from a KU fan for over 45 years. So I went to KU, been a KU fan forever, and I just want to get everybody to remember no longer a regional conference, we're a national conference, and we have to be a national conference.
Yeah.
We couldn't survive if we didn't grow.
You make a great point. The biggest reason why the Big 12 survived over the Pac-12 was because the universities, Brett Yormark, made it a mission to become a national conference, understood the importance of becoming a national conference because it betters your media companies, your media partners. It gives them more value. The longer the bandwidth you offer, the value you offer your media partners, the better it is. The Pac-12 did not realize that over the last 20 years. The Big 12 realized it just in time with Brett Yormark's leadership. Having said that, would have you been more... now, I understand your point. If you're going to be doing these 4-pod team permanent rival pods, right? If you're going to be doing that, you're going to be rotating through the other schools less often, and there's a less of an opportunity to create new rivalries. I get your point, but are you what would have you preferred? How they did it here, where there's only 4 permanent rivals throughout the entire conference, or would you preferred the 14 pod region scheduling that they decided not to do?
Well, I think what they're doing is they're feeling it out, because keep in mind there's not a lot of inherent rivalries right now with the new teams coming in, of which is half. We go up to 16, and now 8 of those teams are brand new. The only interplay that they've had is with kind of each other. So there's no way we can create the new rivalries unless we try. And for the first time, giving it only 3 years, I think it's a good start. And we talk about, and again, longtime KU fan, went to school there, so on and so forth. But the reality of it is, Kansas fans don't really travel. So it's easy to say, oh, we're going to lose Oklahoma State, so on and so forth, as a rival. No, we're not. Because we say on paper, yeah, we're a rival, but it's not like we take over their stadium like BYU does when BYU comes to town, or anything like that. So I don't want to dismay anybody, but we kind of need a reality check if you're a KU fan.
Yeah.
Football, it's new to us, and until we prove that, yes, we buy in. I mean, half our stadium is empty after halftime. Mm-hmm. Until we prove that we can do that, we can't really bitch and complain, excuse the language, that we're losing the rivalry between Iowa State or Oklahoma State. At least we keep Kansas State. So
yes,
it's a new change, and we all have to get used to it and adjust to it. But it's going to be a fun change, and I'm really looking forward to the next set of realignment.
Yes, yeah, and if you notice, they only put it out to 2027.
Right, and I suspect that the reason why they waited so long is I'm not 100% sure if Oregon State and Washington State coming to the Big 12 is a good move, but I kind of wonder if they were holding off on the schedule this long to see if that would flesh out a little bit for the possibility of maybe bringing them in. Mm-hmm. So, I think the window may be closed now for them for at least another year, but I trust Brett Yormark, and I'm Big 12 proud. Yeah. So And I think we all, as Big 12 fans, need to remember, just like you had said a little bit ago, without Brett Yormark, we would have been the Pac-2.
Yeah.
We would be the Big 12 2 or Big 2. So let's be happy. And thanks, Greg. I appreciate you letting me come on.
You got it. I appreciate the phone call, man. Call again.
Have a good one.
You too. Excellent. Excellent. Phone lines are open. 763-260-1333. We're going through more of the schedule here. We got UCF and Cincinnati up on the board. Got a call real quick. Beautiful.
Call from
Ryan Thomas.
Ryan Thomas is on the line. The floor is yours, good sir. What do you got to say about it?
Just a point that was made. I think it's important to realize that I think the point being brought up by the last caller as far as having new rivalries develop, which I think there will. I think that's something to keep in mind, and kind of having that national presence or that national kind of schedule and traveling around. I think that's a really good point, and I think the conference itself is still taking shape. People have to remember that the Big 12 is basically a conglomerate of the Big Eight, the remaining Big Eight, Southwest Conference, Big East, and basically WAC and Pac-12. I mean, I think that's really what you have to kind of see this as. And there are some traditional historical rivalries, particularly with the Big Eight group, so to say, the Colorado, Iowa State, Kansas State, and Oklahoma State. But I think it's just sort of one of those things that that's got to be derived. There is regionality in there, and I would just counter to some of that point, because there is some regionality. I just look at the youth schedule. I mean, of course, Utah's there, but we're playing Arizona and Arizona State and Colorado, which are all pretty close by, pretty often. And then there's some trips to Texas and out east. So I mean, it's not. I think when you look at the kind of the pairings of the Western schools, they're all playing each other pretty frequently, and I wouldn't say it's all that bad either for some of the for some of the Midwestern schools. Kansas, they're probably Baylor and Kansas State and TCU, Colorado, Iowa State. I mean, that's not there's some stuff that's there, and so I mean, I would just say with me, the verdict is still out, and who knows? This could all change, Greg, because like you said, realignment never sleeps. And the next thing we know, when the ACC, keep in mind the ACC put together their schedule matrix. They put together that in like a month and a half after inviting Cal and Stanford. So, I mean, it's not like this takes forever to put together, and it's not like this can't be tweaked and, changed. Just
Sure.
like the Big Ten, if you recall, just
Sure.
like the Big Ten. So, I mean, there'll be some feedback, and I think that the one thing is if there's further expansion, even if it's Washington State, Oregon State, if that does happen, and I'm indifferent. I don't have the hate that people do towards that. I don't know why there is. I mean, I would love to have the Beavers and then another set of Cougars in the conference. I'm not going to have any hate towards them. I understand their situation, but ultimately it's what the media partners will pay for, and if someone pays for it, then great. I'm all for it. But I think it's just taking shape, and that's really kind of the gist of this, and future expansion could be the pretext to kind of implement a lot of this feedback and switch this all up again. And I mean, I know people can be upset, but right now the key thing is they're registering the concerns, and those concerns may have been registered before, but they're kind of being measured with the fan base. And given what I think that it's highly likely in the next few years there's going to be some further expansion that might present some opportunities for the Big 12 after the Big 10 and SEC can finish kind of feasting upon the ACC for what they want.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that's just I think people need to just take a healthy perspective on this, because this is something that can easily be updated. I refer again people to the Big Ten schedule. If you remember, they released the Big Ten schedule, or the matrix. What was it? They released that in May or June or something like that. And everybody thought, well, that doesn't mean they're going to add anybody. And sure enough, they did. And they updated it. So I mean, I think people just need to kind of take a chill pill and relax. And my last thought, as far as Michigan goes, it's funny. I mean, I love Big Ten style football because I'm all about defense and offensive line and chewing the clock and running the ball. That's but I'm born and old. But Big Ten egos can be funny. But what I could see happening is I could totally see the Big Ten handing down the punishment of preventing Michigan from playing in the conference championship game. And then, which would be fine for them, because what you'd probably end up seeing is that's one less opportunity to lose another game. And I could totally see Michigan getting in the playoff anyway and the Big Ten collecting the check. So, I mean, it's not like they're losing any money on it. I mean, I honestly think that will be the outcome, is they'll probably prohibit Michigan from playing in the conference championship game this year. And make themselves in the conference feel good about it themselves and still collect their check. But this is kind of crazy. I mean, this is you got sunglasses that are wide enough to probably have a camera in it. I think Immaculate. He's onto something, Greg.
Yeah. He's on something, or he's on to something, or he's on something.
Well, let's I'm never going to bash anybody on the channel here, so I'm going to say positive things about people. But I think most of the time Immaculate's on to something rather than on something. So I mean, I think most of the time his instinct and his gut is pretty good. And
he's a Hawkeye, so I cannot give him any compliments whatsoever.
I understand, and and Hawkeyes and Eagle Badgers, and
yes.
You have to be careful of them. But I'll get off and let everybody call in. But just my main message is just everybody just remember this can all change, and just cool down, calm down, and just enjoy the wave.
Appreciate it. Great call.
Thanks,
as
buddy.
always. Thank
All
you,
right,
sir. We at Peek Around the Corner, we never did a monologue about Washington State, Oregon State becoming Big 12 members. We just we poked and prodded, but the answer was always coming back, no, that's not happening. So your Mark's not interested, the media partners are not interested, so we didn't spend any time on it. And I think this putting out the schedule, I think this should close the door for most people, if not all people, thinking about that possibility. I think Washington State and Oregon State, I think it's all about joining the Mountain West, that whatever best time after that court case is resolved. The phone lines are open, 763-260-1333. We have received some great phone calls. I received something from Immaculate here. This is how many times, I'll put it up on the screen. I will in a little bit here. How many times each team plays what team?
Call from
Immaculate.
Immaculate is on the line. I'm going to go ahead and put up that picture you just sent to me.
Yep. Go
And
ahead.
you go ahead, and the floor is yours, good sir.
Well, yeah, I just kind of sitting back watching, letting the Big 12 folks share on this. This wasn't a surprise for me, and of course, having a show with Big 12 folks on it, you tend to hear these things ahead of time. But this schedule was actually surprising. I expected to see something a little bit more like what Big 10 and ACC has done.
Yeah.
And this is very much not in that direction. I do like, I don't want to call them arguments, the points made for why this is a good idea. But I also find myself leaning towards the points made about why this maybe isn't the best idea. So what I think we have here, and Ryan touched upon it a little bit, is a schedule that works for as long as you need it to, but it isn't going to piss anybody off if you discard it.
Yeah.
If you have some new schools come in and you have to redo it and remake it, I don't think anyone here is going to be freaking out about it, because the schools that have the protected rivalries, they're probably not going to lose that. So I don't think anyone is going to say, oh, we had the perfect setup and now we don't. You know what I'm saying? It's like they're making sure to not hurt themselves if they have to redo this again in the future. And that's kind of where I am right now looking at this. I don't know. I could be off on that, and maybe I'm not on anything right now. So
yeah.
That's I don't know. That may not be even a very good diagnosis of it, but it just kind of seems like it's a safe thing, and this may not even last. Till 2027.
It may not. Maybe they redo it. Maybe I was expecting a few more permanent rivals than 4. When it first came out, I was searching. I was very busy. My plan was to do a live show right when this hit, but it came out right at the time that I could not do it. But I was searching a little bit there, going, where are the permanent rival lists? I mean, do they have any permanent rivals? They got to have Utah, BYU. But one of the permanent rivals games that went to my head right away was I thought Texas Tech would have a permanent rival, and I thought West Virginia would have a permanent rival. I thought West Virginia would have like a Cincinnati. So when that didn't happen, I was shocked. And I thought Oklahoma State would have a permanent rival. I thought Oklahoma State and Texas Tech would be a permanent rival. So interesting.
Yeah, I don't know why. I guess I get the Kansas State one. I definitely get the Arizona State one. That one has in-state laws connected to it. Like that one, they had to pretty much do that to get them to even join the conference. Utah, BYU, I think that's just, they're protecting that because that one's one you will probably want to have on TV. Kansas State, that might be another state issue. And so that could be our thing. I mean, those could be legal conundrums for the conference that, they had to make good on. Because otherwise, based on everything else, I don't even see why those would be saved and prepared for this unless there was state hangups. Because you look at some of these schools and they're only playing twice on this.
Yes, most of them only playing twice, yes.
Yeah. And I honestly thought that they would be leaning at least something close to a pod system. Because there was a little chat going on about that. I don't know if people understand the full history of the pod system as it is. And it's a lot of people talking about it because a lot of people have gotten into realignment as of late. But this is an old idea from back when conferences were 10 or 12 teams, and they're looking at it saying, we don't know how to go any bigger than this. Because you can't have more than 2 divisions in a conference. And that's still the case. That's still an NCAA rule. One that I think the autonomous conferences want to change very much, but they have yet to get their own governance to change it. But the pod system is simply to have it shouldn't even be called that. It should be called subdivisions. And then people would understand.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're just 4 subdivisions that you intermix. So like, subdivision A, B, C, and D. First year A and B are part of a division. And C and D are part of the second division. Your next year, A and C would go together, B and D would go together, and so forth. And that's why I think that would have worked with this conference, in that you could very easily come up with 4-team pods. Arizona, Arizona State, Utah, BYU. Personally, me, I would have given the edge to the old Big 8 crew. I would have done Iowa State, Kansas, and then I would have given Oklahoma State the choice to be with them or to be with 3 Texas schools. And if they choose Texas, then you put Colorado with Iowa State, and Kansas State. If Oklahoma State wants to be with the Plains schools, then you probably end up getting Colorado in with like TCU, Baylor, and Texas Tech. I would not just put the 4 Texas schools together. I'd put Houston with UCF, West Virginia, and Cincinnati. They have history with Cincinnati and with UCF. I thought that it would go somewhere that direction, because to me it was just like this would work really well, and they didn't do it. And they didn't even go and like protect maybe 1 or 2 rivals for everyone. They went in a completely opposite direction from the other 2 conferences, in a way from the way that I thought they could have easily gone even further than the Big Ten and the ACC. And they did the opposite of that. So, from an outside perspective, I don't want to be too judgmental, and the Big 12 folks can say how it should be and how it shouldn't be. Those are their rivals, their rivalries. The only one that I've been pretty adamant on was the Iowa State and Kansas State one. As someone growing up in Iowa, that was a big deal.
Yeah.
And people were talking about maybe putting Iowa State in a pod with West Virginia and Cincinnati and UCF, and I was just like, no deal.
Yeah.
No deal to that.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
But we'll see on that.
Yeah. Quickly, now, did you see my inspiring episode when I sang I wear my sunglasses at night? Have you seen that episode yet?
Unfortunately, I have not. I thought you were going to maybe do that during a live show.
No.
I was waiting for it.
Well, no, I sang the song in an episode. I dropped it a little bit before we came on live. You probably don't want to listen to it. It was pretty rough.
No.
But
I'm going to have to listen to it now.
But in that episode, there was, pictures of whoever that person is on the Central Michigan sidelines. We heard from, I'm putting it up on the screen. We heard from Coach McElwain on the Conor Stallions scandal. This is tweeted out by Kennedy Broadwell. I know this is Coach McElwain after the game press conference. I know his name was not on any of our passes. There's no place for that. He basically said, we wouldn't be involved in anything like that, whatever. But in the video, or in my episode that I did, I showed all the pictures. But then Josh Pate did a little video where whoever that person is, standing on the sideline with those sunglasses on, it looks like, now maybe it's just a reflection, but it looks like a little blue light comes up right on the right side of that corner of his glasses.
Yeah.
And have you seen that? Have you seen that video from Josh Pate?
I have, and that blue light might be, when you have a camera lens, you have some light refraction.
Yep.
Depending upon angles of light. If people are wondering what that is, it's not an actual, like, a light that you're supposed to see. It's just refracted light. And it might be that. And it's kind of curious the way he's acting at that time, because you see he's back behind the coach and he's just peeking around the corner.
Yeah.
Peeking around him, and it comes on, and it's kind of funny. The first initial pictures I've seen, the glasses he was wearing did not look like those, the Ray-Bans that we looked at. I was like, nah, there could be another one. But then some of these later videos and things, I'm looking at going, wait, it does look like those.
Yeah.
And maybe that picture just kind of, sometimes when you get a still picture, sometimes it gets dragged in a direction. Like everything gets pulled a little taller. And so it made those glasses look like they're a little bit taller, a little bit bigger.
The picture in which the individual is pumping his fist, where he's got the side shot. Someone sent me a blown up picture of that, and the side of the glass is so thick right there that it looks like a recording of, it looks like a video Ray-Ban sunglasses, but we'll see. I'm very interested in the fact that his name, Conor Stallions, was not in any pass. According to Coach McElwain. So if it's him, we don't know if it is, but if it's him, what did he do? Put down a different name? How did this happen? The story gets stranger every single day.
Well, the story I saw, just someone, these are comments, random comments that you're not quite sure about, but is that on those visitors' passes like that, the visiting team, which they were, is handed a stack of them by the home team. Mm-hmm. And so and if that's true, they may not even have a sign-up form. Like, it's like, we've got these, if we got certain people we're having down there with us, we just hand them out. Like, they may not have a systematic way of doing that, of keeping track who they give them to. Like,
are you talking about the passes?
Yes.
Well, but this is a visitor bench pass. This isn't like even those. I mean, the team has to know who's on that sideline between the two 20-yard lines. The coach was at 5 feet of this guy on one of the pictures.
I agree.
I don't know.
But like I said, sometimes coaches don't even know where they're standing on the field, and they have to have a guy,
Yeah, you mentioned that.
Keep track of them. So I want to believe that this guy knows who everyone is on his sideline. Like, I want to, but sometimes the reality is these guys don't have as much control over everything around them as we think, and they're kind of relying upon people that are in positions to keep track of this. And if I don't know. I mean, I would like to think so, but at this point in time, it's kind of looking like either they don't know or they're covering it up.
Yeah. So, live show for you guys tonight?
Yes.
Big 12 rivals?
I think it's looking at maybe 9 Eastern.
Okay.
So it's going to be a little bit, not sure what we're going into. I'm sure Bomber's got it all figured out.
Yeah, I'm sure you're going to be hitting that Big 12 formula model, football model, very hard. Should be an interesting show. Everybody in the chat, go check out Immaculate and Nathan Brown and the Big 12 Rival Show later tonight. Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it. You have yourself a good day, and I'm going to go check out your singing.
Yes, it's rough. Very difficult song.
Right.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Have a good day.
I'm telling you, I know you guys don't want to hear the excuses, but come on. to sing that song without the music, and that was ridiculous. So yes, I embarrassed myself. Clay tried. They did a great job with the Big 12 schedule. Broke the old no change mold and got all the teams on the schedule pretty equally while keeping most of the regional games for 3 or 4 years. There is some support. There is some recognition that, no matter how you do it, you're going to have some people displeased, some fan base is displeased. But, hey, Greg, look over your shoulder. Connor is stealing your monologue. I don't understand. Who's stealing my monologue? They can have it if they want it. They can have it if they want it. Don't quite understand the comment, Architect. Explain to me. Again, the phone lines are open. 763-260-1333. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you get notified when we're coming on next. We don't really schedule our live shows. We don't schedule our episodes. They come out when it's right for it to come out. The episodes will be break on live when there is news to cover. So please subscribe to the channel and then hit the notification bell. Follow us on Twitter at Flug Empire. Follow us on X at Flug Empire. Sometimes, most of the time, we give you a heads up when we're coming on live. And smash that like button. It helps us with YouTube, the algorithm of YouTube, so very much. If you want to support this channel, hit the $, make a comment, and we'll get your comment as soon as possible. Big 12 schedule has come out for 2024 to 2025. Not the schedule, not the dates of the games, but the matchups, the permanent rival list, the formula. We all see it here for 2024, 25, 26, and for the 27th football season. There is some displeasure, more than some, a lot of displeasure. People wanted more permanent rivals. Kansas State, Iowa State, Farmageddon leading the pack. That should have been a rival game. For me, I thought they would link up Texas Tech and Oklahoma State, and I thought they would link up West Virginia and Cincinnati. No Mountaineer fans have complained about it. So maybe there's not a complaint out there.
Call from
Moen.
Moen Vision, the floor is yours, Mr. Buckeye. What's going on, sir?
Well, I'll explain that joke to you. Conor Stallions is the name of the staffer who was stealing signs, Greg.
Yeah, but,
That's-
he's stealing my monologue. Oh, I got it.
Yes, he's in the picture behind you stealing them up.
Yeah, I'm not too bright, guys. I'm not too
Did the
smart.
best job of, and
Huh?
I want to say the Big 12 did the best job of scheduling of the 3 conferences who've done it so far. I think they had enough blend of the old, some of the new. I think I'm happier with that than I am with the Big 10 scheduling.
Wow.
I like it. They kept some regionality to it, protected the best rivalries, I think. I was really impressed with it. I think Yormark's done a fantastic job so far with, the scheduling aspect of it. We'll see how that moves forward. But you asked me a question yesterday if I thought it was Conor Stallions on the sidelines.
Yeah.
I've moved my odds from 50-50 to 80-20.
Okay.
The way the head coach at CMU spoke, I mean, why would he refer to him as sign stealing guy? And how we don't know who he is, and his name's not on any list, but we don't know who he is, and we don't know how he got coaching gear, and we don't. Come on.
Yeah.
If he wasn't responsible, somebody on his staff was, and they're obviously investigating that, trying to get to the bottom of who that was. But yeah, I mean, now Central Michigan's going to have to look at some NCAA violations heading their way too conclusively prove that. And I saw you reposted John Pate's tweet of the blue light special on the sunglasses.
Yes.
And after
Yes.
after looking into it, yeah, he speaks, and then that blue light shows up. That's exactly how those Ray-Bans work. No doubt in my mind, whoever that sign stealing guy is, he is stealing signs and recording.
Yeah.
But I'm about 80% sure that's Conor Stallions at this point.
Yeah, I'm probably looking at 9 out of 10, about 90%. I guess there's still a chance that he's not Conor Stallions, but man, you would think if that, I don't know, you would think it'd be easy to find who that person is if it wasn't Conor Stallions. But I guess maybe somebody else was doing something illegal and recording the game across the field. But it looks like him, man. It looks like him.
It could be. I mean, it could be somebody else. But, I mean, those are definitely – I think with the blue light right after the voice activation, those probably are recording sunglasses. And then the additional film I've seen today of him just constantly, covering his face, looking at the ground.
Yeah.
Anytime the play comes near him, it's like, okay, there's something off about this guy. He is not like the other.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that he is talking to coaches on their staff and analysts on their staff, and they don't know who the guy is.
Yeah, it's just, yeah.
He's wearing coaching gear.
Yeah.
If someone comes up to me in coaching gear, I go, whoa, 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 what coach are you? What analyst are you? Instead of having a casual conversation. So I thought it was very interesting. McElwain's comments, I mean, even his voice was trembling and breaking in some of the comments, I thought.
Yeah,
so I think I'm probably nervous for his job too.
Yeah, now either he's nervous for his job or, maybe he was really, really upset by the situation because he did not pay attention and, he can't figure out. I don't know. I couldn't really get a read on it, but it's either he's nervous for his job or to me it's like he was really upset to the point where his voice was cracking and he wanted to say something more, but he couldn't.
Yeah, that's a possibility too. But
yeah,
I mentioned it on X earlier. I think that they need to put some. The Big Ten schools need to put some leverage on the MAC conference. If CMU can't come up with some kind of explanation for this guy,
yeah,
whether that's saying, "Hey, we're not going to schedule MAC schools." I know that's the other MAC schools have nothing to do with it, but if you got to put leverage on CMU to figure out who this is, that might be the way to do it, to have every other school in the MAC pissed off at CMU.
Yeah.
Kind of force their hand. But I just wanted to call and let you know I upgraded. I'm at 80-20. You're at 90.
Yeah.
I'm sure by tomorrow there'll be more evidence and I'll be closer to 90 as well. But just wanted to call and let you know that, Greg. And I'll also let you know Immaculate got the time wrong. We go live at 8:30 tonight.
8:30 Eastern, correct?
8:30 Eastern. That's correct, sir.
Got it. People, check it out. Big 12 rival, Mo and Vision, Immaculate. All righty, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Talk to you later, Greg.
Thank you, man. I see that my camera got moved, so my back wall, the thing is all screwed up. Doesn't look all that good. I apologize. I'll get it fixed after the show. I could fix it now, but who really cares? Just to let you know, camera got moved on me. Moen loves it when I'm wrong. Ryan Thomas, follow the money. Great question by Wayne Russell. Thanks for coming on in. Is Stallions paid suspension like Harbaugh was, or is he prohibited from being at the facilities during the week? I think Jim Harbaugh was a paid suspension, but he was still prohibited. Wasn't Harbaugh prohibited? I believe he was going in the facility for the first 3 weeks of the regular season. I may be wrong on that, but that's kind of what I remembered. I do not know if Conor Stallions is a paid suspension. I'm guessing it is because, first of all, it's not that much money, and it's just easier legally for Michigan to deal with this if it's a paid suspension. I'm guessing it's paid. Just a guess. I don't know for sure. Great question, Wayne. If anybody's got the real answer, put it in the chat. I appreciate it. Again, the phone line's open, 763-260-1333. Talk about anything in college football that you want. We're talking Big 12 schedule. Big 12 schedule has come out for the 24, 25, 26, and 27 season. Clay, try. This poor Iowa State, Kansas State stuff is ridiculous. The game is set to be played 3 out of every 4 years. Each team will be playing either 6 regular, 3 or 4, or 1 permanent of 4, 3 or 4. But I understand it. I only can take what Iowa State and Kansas State fans are and internalize it. If Minnesota only played Iowa 3 out of every 4 years, if Minnesota only played Wisconsin 3 out of every 4 years, that's not enough. That's not enough. We would like to play them 8 out of every 4 years. Home and away. 2 games a year against those 2 teams. It looks good on paper. 3 out of every 4. But when you are rivals, when you make it custom to be traveling to the other state to watch the game once every couple of years, if that's part of your tradition, family tradition, it's just 3 out of 4 ain't good enough. 3 out of 4 ain't good enough. I get it. I get it from just trying to internalize it. I understand it. And I knew, when I saw the protected rivals list of 4, I didn't see Farmageddon. And I didn't see a couple others that I thought would be on there. And I saw some tweets. I saw some heat. But shame on me, I did not quite understand. For whatever reason, I guess I've been very busy today. I don't know, maybe that's part of it. But I understand now. That's why we have this show. Comments and phone calls. We're learning from each other. Definitely it's a problem for most Iowa State and Kansas State fans. Immaculate said Harbaugh just couldn't coach at the games, but he was coaching practices. Still, I think. Could be. AAR, West Virginia Mountaineers, will be visiting the Arizona Wildcats. All righty. Doug watches Iowa State. I understand that the Big 12 is a national conference now, but the Kansas State-Iowa State game will be missed. Iowa State will always be up for any challenge from year to year. The Cyclones. Speaking out. I'm just going to check something real quick here. Real quick. Let me just take a moment. I don't think I'm going to show that. Okay. Well, I think we're going to lock it up. I think we're going to end the live show. This is the Big 12. This was the Big 12 schedule live show. I'm glad we're able to get it off the ground. It's been a very busy day. Very important day for the Big 12. They learn what the formula, their matchups for 24, 25, 26, and 27. There's some disagreement among the Big 12 fan base. I've also seen the tweets from the West Virginia fans that I follow. They are not happy. They are not happy. There's some other unhappy fan bases. But there it is. There it is. And it only goes to 2027. I got a feeling that 2028, 2027 could be another year of change. So therefore, I think the schedule's going to have to be changed. Again, we shall see. But I want to thank you all for coming in this Wednesday afternoon PATC. Before you leave, again, please subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and please smash that like button if you like our content today. Until next time, from all of us at PATC to all of you, please, you all take great care of each other.